Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live today here on the Innovation Hub Facebook page. So today I've been really excited because I'm bringing you a brand new collection by Fleurs. This is an exclusive bit of a preview as to what's going to be coming up launching tomorrow on Create and Craft. So definitely keep your eyes peeled because this is something to get really excited about. It's been in the making now for quite a while, and you saw the first launch of this, I think it was in late January. So it's really exciting because we've got a second edition and I get to bring it you and you can see it here today. What we've got is 3 massive die sets. You've got 87 die cuts in total there, which is phenomenal. And when you see the value for money when this launches tomorrow on air, you will not believe that you can get 87 die cuts for that price. So the dies, first off I'm going to show you here. We've got our petals here. So you've got some leaf elements and you've got some petals. Now this is a set that I've been working with and I have enjoyed it so much. There's massive versatility with this. And of course, these are dies. I'm going to show you later on that you don't necessarily have to have a die machine to use these. These can be used as templates. So here we've got our leaf die set. And these can be also, you look at this as a leaf, but it may be a petal. It may be something else. It could be part of a flower. It could be a stamen. It could be anything. And then this one here is something to get really excited about because just look at that die set. How many shapes and elements can you see in here? Now, of course, when you've made your giant fleurs, because of course this is what this is, it's the Giant Florals Launch 2, the living wall. You have got all of these elements in here, which are your stamens and your centerpieces for your flowers. But of course, these can be individual flowers on their own. So maybe you're making giant flowers if you are maybe a dresser for weddings or maybe big birthday events, or you just like to do large home decor on a large scale. These would be perfect for you. But of course, maybe if you're a paper crafter, then you like to work on cards or maybe even mixed media. They really are all across the board because even these big massive dies that are like these huge nested foundation petals, I've been cutting paper, I've cut fabric with these, and the thin grey board as well cuts these fine. So you can make some really durable projects with these and you can just have so much fun with them. There's tons to do. So in today's Facebook Live, we've got about half an hour. So I want to show you exactly what you can do with them and give you a little bit of an inspiration because tomorrow when you see it going live, you'll be able to actually get hold of the dies and then you can put that inspiration into reality when your dies arrive in the post. So to start with, I've got a few petals prepped here that I've been cutting out and you'll see how all the dies work together, how you can build them up, and really I think that's quite important because someone that may be not a die cutter might look at this and think, I wouldn't know where to start, I don't know which bits are which, but it's been broken down so easily for you for absolutely any type of crafter, or even if you're new to crafting, this is perfect for you to be able to make, because maybe you do make large flowers for weddings and things like that, but you don't necessarily use dies to do it. This could be that sort of first taster to that sort of journey for you, so it's really exciting. And I've been using cardstock for this. This is just all cardstock I've got in my craft stash. This is just a green that I printed a long time ago for another project. And I've got a big stack of card that I've been using in mixed different ways. And this collection's perfect for that because you really can utilise anything that you've got left over in your stash to make your flowers with. And firstly, I'm going to do a bit of die cutting for you. And for me, this was quite new actually because I don't actually do I hadn't done a massive amount of die cutting. Now it's a big part of my life and I absolutely love it. But before, I would say probably 3 or 4 months ago, I was sort of getting used to dies and seeing what they do and how you could work with them. And now it really has it's just gone so far. I love it. I use dies for everything and being able to have a set this big is just phenomenal. So I'm just taking my die plates, I've put my die in there, and you can see there I've got 2 pieces of card. Well, this is probably about 120, this cardstock. So I've put it in, which is going to give me about a thickness of 240. Just over my die, and I've cut that flower shape in green because you'll see what I'm going to use it for. So I'm just going to pop this into my Pro Cut. So of course I've actually cut laser 4 with this with these dies. So depending on what thickness or whether you're using with them foam, you can cut multiple thicknesses with them, which is brilliant. Here we are. So if I take my plates out there, you can see, perfect cut. And these, I mean, they're really pretty on their own, aren't they, these lovely flowers? And you've got a good size with this particular die. The overall measurement in that one, just so you've got a comparison of the die set size, that's 13 centimetres. So that's a big die. So if you were to start off with that as a flower base, that's huge. And just to show you these ones, while I'm talking about the size of them, the overall width, height of those is 28 centimetres. That's massive. So if you were to make a flower, you could make a flower up to 60 centimetres width, which is huge. And of course, make them even bigger than that, and you can condense them down to really small. So really, you can make absolutely any flower you want to with this set. So I've got my two pieces here. Set some of that to one side with my die plates. Now, I'm used to mixed media, so I'm going to try and be tidy as I go, which is something I'm learning at the minute. So I'm going to pop my dies back. And this here is actually going to be the back of my flower, because with these flowers, you can mount them onto card, you can mount them onto grey board, whatever it is you want to use. But this is actually going to be the back of our flower, which is going to be sort of the backbone and the strength. So if you're just joining us now, you might be thinking, is now getting a tube of paint out. I don't understand. So this is what I'm going to be using, is it's sort of like a rolling tool. So I'm going to wrap my petals around it and actually roll it over. Now you could use a paintbrush, a pencil, you could use a pen, anything like that really. But I find the thickness of this gives me that curve in my cardstock for this size, which means I can then wind it around tighter without breaking the fibres. So you can see there, it's giving me a nice curve. Now I'm taking my Kit and Caboodle glue gun. Now I love working with this glue gun, and it's especially perfect for these projects as well because it's quick and it's easy. So I'm taking all my petals like that, and I've overlapped them and joined it. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, David, you've just completely skipped a step because you had your petal there and then there was a groove in the bottom that was cut out. So that groove, this part here, is another die. So we've got on one of our die sets, on your little elements, we have this, which I call the dart. Now it's a little triangle, and you just sit that over your petal like that, and that way it cuts that groove out, meaning that when you overlap those, it creates the beveled edge and the corner of your petal. How amazing is that? So it's all been thought about for you, even in the shaping of the dies. So you go around and you would keep layering up all of your petals with that. Now this is of course how to make a big flower, and you can do this on a smaller scale if you wish. And I'm going to take my hot glue gun, just a small amount on the back. Of course you can use wet glue for this, whichever glue you prefer to use, but I find that the hot glue, of course, because it dries so fast, and it's an instant grab as soon as you've applied it to the product, it's going to give me a really quick finish. So a little bit of glue on the underside just there, and I'm going to take my next petal here, and using my liquid gel from Cadence, which is a really useful tool for this, gets me that first roll, so I'm not breaking the fibres in my cardstock, which is really important because sometimes, unless that's the effect that you're wanting to go for, which can look really nice, this way it gives me a nice curve without any creases. So you can see there, I've got my glue gun straight onto one of the tabs again, overlapping just like that, and creating a petal. Now this is so easy to do, it requires little effort in terms of shaping, and it really is a system that's being invented and created for ease of flower making, because maybe you're making a lot of flowers, you maybe wanted to make a large bouquet and you wanted to do quite a lot, or maybe it's just a single one on its own for maybe a nice furnishing in the home on the wall. It can be done efficiently and quickly, or of course you can add as many layers as you wish. So I'm going to keep on layering these up. And I've chosen, you can see here, these are quite nice colours. These are like what I would call spring summer colours, which is this time of year that we're going into, which is really nice. And it's actually really nice today. I went out for a walk earlier. It's really sunny, and I thought in the Facebook today, I think I'm going to use colours that are really fresh, fragrant, and a true representation of what this collection is all about, because flowers, they're just exquisite, and especially in these lovely colours, which you'll notice on the set tomorrow on Create and Craft, is being followed through beautifully. So I've got 3 petals there already layered up, and you can see how it's starting to actually take shape, and that there has formed the base of my flower. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could maybe make this with wire, or you could construct it with any of the materials that you are preferably like more used to using. But with this, it's a really good base to get that flower formed. So I'm going to make this out of about 5 petals. So I'll just roll these last few here and start to stick these down. So of course as well, in the comments of the video, if you ever want to leave any comments about the dies or maybe about flower construction itself, do drop some of those comments and we can always get back to you. Or maybe something you'd like to know about the inspiration behind this or anything like that, we can always get to you on those. And you know, I've been so excited about this collection. As soon as I first saw all of the samples starting to be made from the design team and people here at the Innovation Hub, we just all got that exciting buzz because some of the projects that have been made, Amanda that works here in the Innovation Hub, she's made something that is amazing. And well, she's made quite a lot of them actually, and you'll see them tomorrow. And they just instantly filled us all with excitement and wanted us to actually get crafting, because there's the fun that is involved in doing a project like this. It just makes you want to carry on doing it. So look out for those, definitely. So you can see here I've got my last petal and a bit of hot glue on the bottom, and pop that one in the centre there. You can see our flower has started to take shape. How cute is that? So I've got a second layer of petals. So this is using our smaller die set. Now, this is the die set here. So this is the die I have used, which is the smaller inner die from the petals. And you can see I've used my die machine for this, but as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to show you that not necessarily do you have to use your die machine to actually cut this out. So if I place this down just on my paper like this, I can mark out exactly where I want to draw. Just like this, going around with my die. And this way, of course, you can put multiple of them together. Maybe you could staple all the papers together and cut maybe 10, 15 out at once. And this way I'm just drawing round my die, and this means if I'm not a die cutter, I don't have to use a die machine. So this collection really is for absolutely everybody. There we are. So you can see there I've just drawn a rough sketch of the petal, and that way I can then take some scissors to that, cut that out, and I can be assured that I'm going to actually be able to use this collection without having to buy anything else. It's all there for you. So just a little bit of a tip there, just to show you that you can be able to achieve that effect still. And I'm going to put a couple of these petals together actually, just so that I can roll them all at the same time. Because of course that's what this is about, is ease, workability, and making it fun but achievable. So all of those petals around, and I'm going to then take a tight curl on those all the way up just like that. And that way I've got multiple curls at the same time. And I'm just going to have some hot glue here. Or you can see I've just laid it on the top there. There we go. So my petals for the inside of my flower are now coming to life. There we are. And I've just realised these two here, I specifically didn't cut the dart in the bottom of these to show you, so I'm going to do exactly that now and show you how easy it is to place the dart in there. So I'm going to pop the die for the dart straight down on the back here, like that, of course, the cutting side up away from our mat. And I've poked just the edge of that cut triangle just out of the top there. That way I know I'm going to get a nice clean cut through my petal. So if I lay this down like that, and I've not used any tape for this because I'm confident that it's going to cut it. Let me just double check it first before I say that, and then I actually take it out when it hasn't, because then that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? So let us know as well what you like to craft with, if you are a flower maker, or if you like to make gifts with flowers, or maybe you've bought some Fleurs collections before. So do let us know, because it's always interesting to find out. Just going to glue these in. Just taking my hot glue again on the base of my petals, just like this. And that has now cut for us. So you can see there that my petals, the dot has cut out perfectly in the bottom. So that's now ready to be moulded. Just going to pop my die away. My plate's over here. I can see I'm already starting to build up what it looks like my desk where I work. I've got paint here, tube, I've got my dies, I've got my petals, I've got my plates, I've got everything out. So I said I was going to be tidier, and I've just not gone through with it, have I? I've gone back to my ways. But I think as crafters, we all have our own ways of working. I know I definitely do. So it's always something that we stick to, and everyone's got their own ways of working. So it's something for all of us. Now you can see here I've used a one coloured side cardstock for this, so you don't necessarily have to have anything that's printed both sides. You could do if you wanted to maybe have an effect where you're showing both sides of the petal. But for this one, I'm curling it backwards, so I don't need to worry about that too much. So I'm going to pop this one down in the middle of my flower. There we are. And I just find that the hot glue, the Kit and Caboodle hot glue gun, is so good to use for this. Of course, that's on the Create and Craft website, so you can find that on there. And it's a perfect tool for flower making, as well as any other projects that you may be working with, whether it's card making or paper craft, because you've got a good battery life on there. It's really easy to charge with the USB, so it's portable. You can take it with you on the go if you're crafting. Maybe when we can get away, take it with you on your journeys, and that way you know that you don't have to think about a plug socket or anything like that. You've got everything there with you. And of course you pop it on to charge, and the red light will come on the glue gun, and then it'll be green when it's fully charged, and it'll be blue when it's actually in use. So you know that you've got a tool that's actually going to talk to you and tell you when it needs charging and when it's ready to use, which I think is really good. So I'll pop one more petal in there just after that one, and then that's our big petals for our flower done. And then we're going to move on to the centre, which is really, really the fun bit. So I'm going to roll that up. And the same again, rolling down. And when I first thought of this collection, when I saw that it was in the making of the dies, I thought a giant flower over 50 centimetres wide, that must take forever to make. Like, how does that even happen? All of those petals, but it's so quick, it's so achievable because you've got the dies that size that allow you to really elaborate on the dimension and shape of the flowers. Now you can see there our flower is coming together really nicely. And of course I've used the shiny cardstock for this of 120, but if you're doing this in maybe mirror card, or you're doing it on like a vellum, it would look absolutely beautiful. Imagine it with vellums with lights inside it, it would look gorgeous. And what I've seen some people doing is they actually, oh, I need to put a little bit more hot glue on that one, I've not pressed it down. Silly me. There we are. What I've seen some people doing is actually getting hula hoops and then sticking the flowers around them, and it makes a massive centerpiece, or maybe a wall hanging piece, something like that, which is gorgeous. So now we have got our flower centers. Now you can see here, I'll lay them out for you. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7. I've cut 2 of the same here. Now these are going to form the center, but of course these can be flowers on their own, so maybe you want to decoupage and layer maybe 10 of these to make a flower, or any of the other ones, you can make smaller elements. But what I'm going to do is just take a poker tool with this one here and just run it through my fingers, and that way I'm actually shaping it. So you can see there, I'm actually curling it around to give that really nice shaped finish. So it's really quick, you can probably actually hear it squeaking against my hand. And this is just a really easy technique to actually give shaping and dimension to your flowers. Do excuse me, I'm going to have a quick drink. I don't know about you, but when I'm crafting at home, I get through about 20 cup of teas in like a couple of hours. I don't know why, I think I sit and talk to myself when I'm crafting. But bit of a dry mouth. So this one here, this die, you can see has actually got perforations in it. So if I show you the die, I'm going to take it off, and it's our second inside die to our centre of our flowers. And you can see we've got the shape of the die here, but we've actually got all of these lines that go down on the inside, and what these do is they don't cut through the actual paper for you, but they will give you a score line so you can actually shape these in a different way to the layer that you placed down previously. So it's a really nice touch that's just added to the die, and they don't necessarily always have to put these in here, but when the dies are designed and all the team comes together, they always think of ways that they can utilise the most space they can do on these dies by giving you these extra points that really just give you that extra bit of detail and dimension to your finished projects, which I think is a great feature. So what they have done is given me these perforations, which when I just squeeze like this, it gives me a really nice little fold. And of course with these dies, when you've cut them, you can put these through your embossing plates. You can make some really nice looking flowers with these. And instantly that's given us a really nice, it looks like it could even be a daffodil, or you layer these up and it could be sunflowers, like a starfish. It's quite cute, that, isn't it? But all of the shaping has been done for you. It's just a simple process of pinching it and away you go. So a little bit of hot glue again, just on there. And I'm going to do these alternate, so every other petal I will place in the middle. And then our next one, I've chosen a really nice light lilac to complement my flowers. And these will go in the centre. And I mean, I've only got half an hour today to show you actually what you can do with this, but I really could sit and talk to you all day about the possibilities and the projects that you could create with these flowers. So you could imagine creating actual flowers on stalks, big 3D sizes. They'd be great for sets and that school plays and things like that. Brilliant to build sets and projects with. There really is just so much that you can do with them. But of course, imagine a present that you're giving as a gift and then you're topping it with a giant flower. It's almost like that finishing bow that you always put on. It looks really pretty and detailed and ruffled. You could do massive gift flowers really on top of your presents, which I think would look so nice. This one here, I'm going to do the same again with my poker tool, but the way going up. So my finger is underneath the paper and my poker tool is actually resting on top. And as it's pressing into my finger, it's curling it up just like that. So you can see my fingers underneath, poker tool on top, sandwich it between and pull it. And I'm sort of curling it like you would do if you've got ribbons with scissors, that sort of thing. So it gives you a nice little petal finish there, which I think is really cute. And I've not had to use a ball tool or anything like that, so you could do if you wish. But I like to try new different techniques, some things that I'm not quite used to. So that's my reason for having a go at this. And my second before last is my inner stamen. Now, if maybe you wanted to make some cards, this could be a small flower on its own, which is great about this collection, because when you've got this small flower, you take your big die set and you think, I've got this little tiny flower, and then you've got the leaves. Now these leaves will work with your smaller flowers, but of course, layer up into your big leaf elements. How amazing is that? So you've got so many different size flowers in one set of dies. So I'm going to carry on curling this up, just like this, and that way it's just going to give me, it doesn't have to be even, it can be going in which way direction, it's entirely up to you. You could do them in reverse curls, so you've got some facing down, then others facing up, and that does actually add to the realistic touch of these. But of course this is more of a realistic but fantasy flower collection. And with these, I'm just going to take my well-loved mat here. You can see I've had this for a very long time, but it still works perfectly. Taking my ball tool and push down into the centre. This one you might be able to see a little bit better. So if I push down just into the centre, it pushes them all up. Then I gather them all and give a little squeeze like that. And then I can start to put these in the centre of my flower, and that's the sort of finishing touch. But these would just look so nice with waxes and sprays on these. Any sort of other elements of mixed media that you wanted to add to these would look absolutely stunning. So I'm going to place that, and I've just used my hot glue again. And this is used such little glue. This stick that I had in here was not even a new glue stick. It was already still part used. And you can see that I've hardly used any hot glue. And it's red hot, it's boiling right now, but there's no glue dripping out the end, so I've got no mess. So when I'm making my flowers, I know I'm not going to be absolutely covered in spider webs like you sometimes do with some hot glue guns. And that's the beauty of it. And of course, with your hot glue gun, you're going to get you're going to get 50 glue sticks in there, which is over how many hours of use? I have no idea. It will keep on going forever. It's brilliant. And I've just stuck my last stamen center in there. And then you're going to get the whole piece. So that could be used as an entire flower on its own. When you're looking at all of that, how beautiful is it? And you take your flower. So you can see here how it's freestanding, it's built up. Looks absolutely lovely. And I'm going to go straight down into the center of the flower to stick this in. So I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue just on the back there, and always give a little swizzle like that with your glue. A little swizzle and it'll take any excess off. Straight down into the center. I'm just going to give it a little push and poke down with the pokey tool. Just like that. And how amazing is this? We have got a full flower. And that was created in around, well, I could have done it even quicker if I wasn't talking through the steps, but that's so easy to achieve. But look at that, it's massive. It's huge. And think, I've only used 5 for the outer layer, and I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, I've used 5 again for the inner layer. I thought I'd use more than that, but I've only used that many. So think of how many more you could layer up and how big you could create these flowers. And just to show you some other effects that you can actually do with these, I've got some petals here, and I'm just going to show you how lovely they look embossed, because I've got just a few minutes to show you. So if I take my die plates from my kit and caboodle, and I'm going to, let's have a look, pick an embossing folder. So any embossing folders that you've got, if you've not got any, check out the website. There's loads on there to pick from. And I've cut out one of my petals from a really beautiful pink 120 cardstock. And I pop that through my die cutting machine. And I've got my bottom plate and my top plate, which is sat right next to me. I knew where that was the entire time. Pop my shim in there. So I've used my 2 3mm plates with my kit and caboodle mat, and I've used my embossing folder and my metal shim. So that's the sandwich that you want for this, this process. I'm going to pop it straight in. Almost done. So take these off. I just absolutely love this effect. It gives me goosebumps, and embossing is not something I've done lots of, so for me this is like a new toy. I love it. But with your petals, embossing looks stunning. So you can see here I've got the embossed side. Of course you can use the debossed side, whichever effect you want to create. I've just taken a pink ink pad here, and of course brushing over this will then start to catch all of the embossed, and then you can use this to create your flowers with. So the effects that you could create with your embossing folders and your cardstock and then your dies, see that, how amazing is that? Instantly you've got texture. It's almost like wallpaper that you're creating for such a little price and little effort. But the creativeness and the potential that you can create with these is amazing. I absolutely love it. It's a brilliant collection. So of course, just to show you again, you've got 3 die sets in here. So you've got the large petals, and you've got your small leaves, and you've got a leaf set in there as well. And of course here, you have got your large leaves and your large leaf section. Of course, these can be used as petals as well. Maybe you want to make a giant sunflower with this. Of course, visualize what you can do with this giant raindrop shape of a petal. Leaves, sunflowers, really massive, vibrant blooms. And then we've got our stamens, leaves and extra small petals, which you can make flowers. And of course you're getting foundation sets in here. Look at all of these circles, all of these shapes. You could even create these, layer them up, create different decorations for different seasons. There's so many different things you can do with this. And remember, you're getting 87 dies with that, which is amazing value. So thank you so much for watching on today's Facebook Live. Join Corinne Robinson tomorrow for the launch of the Fleurs Giant Living Wall Florals, which launches at, I think, 11:15 in the morning. So get up and watch that, because you're going to really be in for a treat. It's an amazing collection, and I'll be there watching it with you. So I can't wait for the launch. So drop any comments down below if there's anything you'd like to know, any questions that we can answer for you relating to fleurs or anything craft. We can surely help you out with that. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. See ya.